We do, though, have had some critics, per se Draymond Green, let's just say, of about the WNBA and about players and how they voice their concerns. Have you heard from him at all? Do you think he'll respond at all to this documentary?
I would hope so. Like, I've known Draymond for a minute, and one thing that he does respond well to is confrontation. He usually dishes it out. So I wonder if he can receive it, because I did, talk about when he was having his nice little soliloquy about what women's sports needs. He's coming from the right place. His heart is in the right place. It just also showed a lack of awareness to the work of women, that we're fighting for that type of visibility and respect.
Hey guys, welcome on into Drinks with Binks. I'm Julie Stewart-Binks. You may notice that the set looks a little bit different. For the first time in 15 months, we are still shooting from my apartment. We are still at home, but we thought that we would, spice it up a bit, make it look a little bit more like a bar, roll out the red carpet, because we have such an exciting guest here on our show today. None other than star of the LA Sparks, two-time WNBA All-Star, vice president of the WNBA Players Association. You've seen her on ESPN as an analyst, as well as a radio host and a host of First Take, Her Take podcast, as well as executive producer of a documentary that is airing this week, 144. I am raising my glass today to our guest, Chiney Ogwumike. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Man, you must be just so pumped to see your baby, not literal baby, your documentary come to fruition and air in front of everyone.
Yes, thank you. First and foremost, shout out to Binks. Let's go. And drinks minus the sparkling water. Just because I love to eat bad, and so I'm committed. Now that I'm on the other side of young-ish in the WNBA, I've committed myself okay, I can drink that, and it makes me feel like I'm anyways.
Yes.
Thank you. And it is my baby. It is our baby. I work with amazing producers, all young women, millennial women that have helped bring this project to life, celebrating the amazing 144 women of the WNBA. It's grueling, becoming a filmmaker, but at the same time, it's going to be so rewarding knowing that the WNBA players will see themselves on the screen where they deserve.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's got to feel so good. And so for those who don't know, first of all, Thursday, May 13th, 9 p.m. on ESPN, about the WNBA bubble. What are you most excited for people to see when they watch this?
The WNBA, and I've been telling everyone, that I encounter, everyone needs to experience the WNBA. And when I say that, it's not about just the amazing women killing it on the court at a high level. It's bigger than that. What you see is a collection of every woman, meaning I always sing you will find every kind of woman in the WNBA. And in the middle of probably what has been the most challenging season, dealing with coronavirus and the pandemic, dealing with racism and social justice movement, you see women standing together. And that's something that I think society can learn a lot from. We may not all agree, but we understand that we are stronger together. We have strength in numbers. And so that's what this film 144 shows to the world. And I think one of the best scenes in it is the players only meeting. So after, the Blake, there was a meeting where you have all players, 144 players, trying to figure out what to do. And to be able to see that and experience that in real time, it still gives me chills.
Right, because I was reading an interview with you in GQ about the fact that because you're a player, you have the trust of the other players, right? To be able to get them to open up, to be mic'd up, to let you in and let the filmmakers in on these situations that journalists and many people in the media wouldn't be able to see. You mentioned that the women have come together, and you guys have done such a great job of leading the charge in terms of awareness and understanding for social justice and for criminal problems in America, that police reform that we really need. We do, though, have had some critics, per se Draymond Green, let's just say, of about the WNBA and about players and how they voice their concerns. Have you heard from him at all? Do you think he'll respond at all to this documentary?
I would hope so. Like, I've known Draymond for a minute, and one thing that he does respond well to is confrontation. He usually dishes it out. So I wonder if he can receive it, because I did, talk about when he was having his nice little soliloquy about what women's sports needs. He's coming from the right place. His heart is in the right place. It just also showed a lack of awareness to the work of women that we're fighting for that type of visibility and respect. Like, there have been people doing the great work, knowing that covering women's basketball, you may not necessarily get the same advancement or credit, but it's the right thing to do. And so, yeah, like, hearing what Draymond had to say, I wasn't surprised, because that's what a lot of people think. And I'm glad he said it, because now we can correct that. And I hope he tuned in to 144, because he asked for women's stories to be told. Well, this is the biggest story that arguably the WNBA has had the opportunity to tell. And, it came from the players, by a player, with amazing women that helped bring it all together. And so he should definitely tune in.
Yeah, there's a lot of irony in that you're like, yeah, we are doing the work and doing all of this for the league and for promotion of our league. And also, thank you for mansplaining WNBA to us. It's we really appreciate that. But we know that the league is getting going this week, the day after your documentary airs. So, I mean, you just got a couple things on your plate these days, it feels like. What do you want, especially like as it pertains with the documentary into the season? What kind of like next conversation or dialogue do you want this to sort of spark as you guys step back out onto the court as players, but also as role models in this industry?
I want everyone to know, especially the players individually, that like anything is possible, that their work has value, that their decision and sacrifice in the 2020 WNBA season is meaningful, because now we have an ESPN film. Like, no one thought of that possibility until we were presented with the opportunity. Myself, my agent, Allison Gaylor, Jenna Contreras, Lauren Stoll, like, that's the team that helped really bring this to life, with the support and also, most importantly, trust of the WNBA players. And so this is a win for women that have been doing the work. And so I would say, to advance the film, just knowing that there are so many other stories to be told, we can continue to find amazing creative avenues for that to be shown. Like, I never thought I would be an executive producer. I never thought I was going to be a broadcaster. I knew I was a hooper, and using the platform of sports has transformed my life in ways that I never saw. And so I think this film is a testimony to not letting women be put in boxes or confined, and letting creative and flex.
Yeah, you are such a prime example of being able to be a part of so many different industries and jobs, and really having no limits and no boundaries. And I can't wait to get into more of your media life and how you balance all that. I mean, it's remarkable. But you're also getting back on the court. You sat out last season. You were busy working on the documentary during this time, but now you're back. And I was listening to your podcast, First Take, Her Take, and you said it takes about 3 to 4 months to kind of get back into game shape. How's it been trying to just to get back into just that shape that you'll be able to compete at the same level you were at before?
It's been hard. It is not easy. Once you press stop, or pause, it's hard to, gear up again. But it's been a blessing in disguise, because I've been able to work on my body that would make it more sustainable for years to come. And that's the hardest thing. And so, being 29 years old, jumping back into the WNBA, I feel like a kid in a candy store. I feel like it's the first day of school, because I've missed it. And there's really this special energy now surrounding women's sports, like whether it is the Final Four, the NWSL, WNBA, like there's such a tremendous amount of energy that we know this 25th season is going to be super special. But like, I'm not gonna lie, like the only way you can get in basketball shape is by playing basketball, not practicing. Training camp is great, but like when the game hits, that wind is different. You're an athlete, former athlete. So like that wind is completely different. And so I look forward to Friday. Thursday's a big day with the doc, but Friday's an even bigger day, because I'll be back on the court and I'll be like, I always joke, I'm like, I'm a Hufflepuff. Like I'm Huffle and Puffle. But I'll get through it.
Well, yeah, I know exactly what it's like to be a professional athlete and getting back into professional athlete shape. But I do play ice hockey, as we would call it in America. And there is this different level of being in shape versus being in game shape. And yes, I haven't played in a year. I know once I strap on those skates, I'm gonna be tapping my stick for a shift change like 20 seconds in, because I'm gonna be needing that. But you know what?
Jersey tug.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. See, we have the same life basically right now, and we're both also in media. We're going to get into that after we take a quick time out here on Drinks with Binks. We're sipping on a little H2O. We're hydrating because it is the start of the 25th anniversary of the WNBA season. We have got superstar here, Chiney Ogwumike. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Cassidy Hubbarth, a host and reporter with ESPN, and I just had Drinks with Binks, my dear friend Julie Stewart-Binks. I loved every second of it.
Hey guys, welcome back to Drinks with Binks. I'm JSB. We've got two-time WNBA All-Star Chiney Ogwumike with us here today, who has a documentary 144 or 144?
144.
Okay, 144, because 144 players launching this Thursday on ESPN at 9 p.m. Eastern. And we mentioned beforehand, you're also working at ESPN as an analyst, a radio host, a podcast host. How do you balance it all? And you're also you're vice president of the Players Association. Like, how do you do it?
I don't balance at all. I'm horrible. Like, I feel so bad. My family understands my grind. They understand that, they always say like work while you're young. Well, I think I took that too serious. But, I think for me, again, this is all about my journey. I did not think that, basketball would transform my life in the way that it took me to Stanford. And when I got to Stanford, it took me to the WNBA. And I get to the WNBA and it also brought me a broadcasting career. And now it's bringing me an executive producer, title. And so I think just having the perspective that sports may end at any time, has made me really seize the moment. And you know how they say, like, play like it's your last possession? Like, that's what I think of. And so, saying yes to a lot of opportunities have presented even bigger ones. And it's hard to keep everything in balance. I really don't. I wake up at 5:30 and every hour is regimented up until about 7 p.m. Like I'm on press or I am on, marketing meetings or, planning or training or practicing or getting rehab from practice and then getting ready prepped for my shows. Like it is a crazy grind, but I also know that the representation matters. To be 29, to be a young Black woman in this space where my voice is being amplified, like I got to put in the work. I got to stay prepared because my success will create opportunities for my peers. And that to me is the most important thing.
Right. And you mentioned being, you're the first Black woman to hold a national radio show platform. You're on ESPN Radio with Michael Jr. Great pairing between the two of you. I feel as though I know everything about Golic Jr. already because he's very open about it. Great. I love the guy. What does it mean to you? I know you mentioned that this is more than just your journey. It's about helping so many other women. But when you hold that title, what does that mean to you?
It means that honestly, and I keep saying this, like anything is possible. Like I never thought that we'd be at the point in 2021 where I'd be literally given a microphone and say like, go. And I knew that was an untraditional space, meaning like, it's not built for me to exist. We are both women in a male dominated sports industry. I'm a woman of color. I'm a young voice. I'm also like got a very complicated name, Chiney Ogwumike, complicated to those who are not privy to my culture. And so there's a lot of things that would make people, and I say this, Julie, like all the time, they see you before they hear you. They see you and judge you before they hear you. And so for me, what makes me go is just, changing the ideal, the hearts and minds of someone saying like, well, I thought, why is she talking about the NBA? But hold up, I look at her resume like she's just as good, if not, better than men. Like it starts changing people's ideals when we start seeing diversity and representation in real time. And I think that's what makes me go.
Definitely. I mean, that's got to be so powerful for you and your journey, knowing that it's so much bigger than yourself and that so many young women looking up to you. I'm sure are just so excited just seeing someone that looks like them and knowing that it's possible, right? We talk about it even just, I spoke at a radio conference years ago, and it was like all the white dudes in the audience were like, well, why are there no women that want to be, not as many women that want to be on air in radio? I was like, well, look around who you're hiring. We don't see anybody that looks like us that's doing this. And obviously I'm speaking as someone who has no idea what it's like to be a Black woman trying to do this in this industry. And so I can't only imagine how powerful, it is for you to be holding that title. And when you look at the other side, we mentioned Golic Jr. Tell me something that would surprise us about him and what it's like to work with him every single day.
I mean, every day is a surprise working with Mike Golic Jr. And I would say that he is so self-deprecating, like he's willing to have fun and just be authentically himself. People don't know this man is like smart, like a genius. He's so busy twerking and having a good time and body rolling that like he really is a pro. Like this man is, I mean, he's had great role models in his parents, you know, his dad being a home, but his voice carries its own, like he stands in his own shoes. And so this is someone that's highly intelligent, extremely well prepared, super enthusiastic, forward thinking, and also like the biggest ally ever. Like we call ourselves Swirl, you know, Ebony. You call ourselves Swirl because like, we got our show in the middle of the social justice movement, the pandemic. And like, those were difficult conversations that we were having while we were doing our own show for the first time. And so to have someone that I trust that sees me for me and is willing to say, Chiney, like your voice matters even more so now. And I'm going to take a step back. Like as a man, a white man, to be so in tune with our culture, you know, to me, it just resonates on how he is as a human being. And just, he's been like the perfect teammate. So like, I love that. He's really great.
That's so nice to hear.
I hope he never sees this.
I'm going to make sure he sees it because that's what it's all about on Twitter. It's tagging everybody. And as you said, he is very self-deprecating. You know, he's the everyman, but then, and hopefully every man becomes Mike Golic Jr. in being an ally and being, you know, allowing.
Oh, ladies, come on. Like, he's a catch. Like, let's go.
Oh, okay. Now we're setting him up. Okay. So yes, also he's single and he's ready to mingle out there. So, you know, swipe whatever way the kids do these days. I don't know. Yeah, I was like, I don't know, because I've lived with my boyfriend in an apartment for 15 months and we haven't left it. So everything's A-okay over here.
You're still in there. Congrats.
Yeah, he actually just left before this interview for like the first time ever. It was like, oh, okay. Thank you for this time. I'm really glad we got to this on the show. Okay, we're going to take a quick time out. We're going to have a whole lot more with Chiney Ogwumike when we return on Drinks with Binks. Don't go anywhere.
This is Gilbert Arenas, a.k.a. Agent Zero, a.k.a. the Hibachi. Catch me on Drink with Binks.
Hey guys, welcome back to Drinks with Binks. I'm JSB. We are joined by two-time WNBA All-Star Chiney Ogwumike, who is starting the season with the Alley Sparks this upcoming Friday. Tell us Derek Fisher's best quality as a head coach.
He's an amazing listener. Like, you would think that the man with 5 championships and LA legend would come in and be like, this is what I know. He really lets us be ourselves to our fullest and will embrace that. And so I think one thing people don't know about Fish is that, like, what you think of what someone in his position should be, he is quite the opposite. A listener, a learner, an empowerer. and also someone that will hop in drills when he doesn't like things going. Like, it's so fun to see him. Like, he's like, okay, do the backdoor cut. No, do it like this. Like, no. Hand me the ball, and then he'll go in, and all of us will be like, okay, fish, okay.
Has he still got it?
Oh, he still got it. He still got it. Yep.
I love hearing that. Well, also someone who still got it, you and your sister playing together again. You guys have known each other, of course, off the court and on the court for so many years. How has that relationship with Nneka evolved?
I think it's great to be able to play with her again, because there was a run of 5 years when I was in Connecticut and she was in LA. And, we just weren't able to see each other as much. And that was the hardest thing for us, just because she was playing year round, whether in Russia or in China, and she was in Los Angeles. And I was like 3,000 miles on the other coast. So we'd only get to hang out when we played against each other. And I would stay in the States for broadcasting and she'd go and play overseas. And so I would say the relationship has evolved to the point where it's like, thank goodness we're on the same team, because now we can be, hang out and like just be ourselves.
Oh, that's nice to hear. It's a sister type thing. I thought you guys would have to draw from a hockey reference, the Henrik and Daniel Sedin, like the twins kind of sense. Like when you're on the court, you're just like, I already know where you're going to be. I'm like, let's go.
You're going to see that. You're going to see that this year for sure.
It's like same brain. Okay. And then very quickly, with Candace Parker leaving, do you know her? Are you guys like, do you have a relationship? Like, what's the vibe around the team?
Yeah, I mean, I've always called Candace Big Sis just because she was a big sis to my sister for multiple years. But as you notice, like as players, evolve, they want different things. And for me, like I was on Connecticut for 5 years, and then I thought it was best for my life with balance working, in LA at LA Live for ESPN, and then also being able to see my sister. The best decision was for me to be a player for the Los Angeles Sparks, which is why the best decision for her was probably to go back home to Chicago and sort of get that touch point to be able to play in front of her family and friends after, being able to hold it down for Los Angeles, for the culture for a long time. So everyone, when players get traded, no one is like, oh, wow, it's very normalized. But when players make decisions for themselves, I think it's starting to now get normalized because you can see the reasoning behind.
We're having such a great time talking everything with Chiney Ogwumike. Make sure you stay tuned. We have a whole lot more come up after the break on Drinks with Binks. Subscribe to the Fubo Sports YouTube page for clips and full episodes. Follow us at Fubo Sports on all social media channels. Also available in podcast form wherever you find your favorite pods. Chiney, thank you so much for joining us here. We know that you have so much going on the court, off the court, on TV, podcast, everything. We know you've got your documentary airing this week. Tell us where we can find you next.
Ooh, you can find me on the court. You can find me on air. So just if you watch ESPN, your girl will pop in with NBA analysis here and there. If you watch ESPN Plus, you'll see myself and Mike Golic Jr. from 4 to 7 Eastern. And if you watch the WNBA season, you'll see the Sparks. You'll see me there with the sister-sister connection, like you said.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're super busy. Guys, remember her documentary, 144 airs on Thursday, May 13th, 9 p.m. on ESPN. And you can follow her at Chiney on all social media channels. And you can follow us on social media channels on our YouTube. Watch all of our old shows or our new shows and this show again at Fubo Sports on YouTube. Until next time, guys, bottoms up, bitches.